Look at what you've done. Stand still, falling away from me. When it takes so long, fire's out. What do you want to be? Now I'm holding on. Myself was never enough for me. Gotta be so strong. There's a power in what you do. Now every other day I'll be watching you.
Can we freeze karma and surrender our rights and wrongs? Can we just for one night let the stars decide where we belong? Maybe heaven right now is a devil or angel away. That won't change. Together we vow that our colors will sparkle the fade. And I will find you. I will find you. I will reach you. I will lose my mind. Lose my mind. Lose my mind. Lose my lose my mind. Maybe heaven right now is a devil or angel away. That won't change. Together we vow that our colors will sparkle the fade. And I will find you. I will find you. I will reach you.
You might not know it, but prices on Amazon change a lot. But Honey's got your back. When you use Honey on Amazon, it automatically searches Amazon's 2 million sellers to find you the lowest price. It even shows you the price history of the item you want, so you know if it's a good time to buy. Join the 7 million people using Honey to save money online. It's free, and it takes just 2 clicks to add to any browser. Click the banner now or visit joinhoney.com/Pandora.
Looking up, there's always sky. Rest your head, I'll take you high. We won't fade into darkness, won't let watch you fade into darkness. Why worry now? You'll be safe. Hold my hand, just in case. And we will fade into darkness. Fade into darkness. No, we won't fade into darkness. Fade into darkness. This world can seem cold and gray, but you and I are here today, and we won't fade into darkness. No, we won't fade into darkness. Nothing to fear, but fear itself. We'll be okay, just keep it faith, and we won't fade into darkness. Fade into darkness. No, we won't fade into darkness. Fade into I was bound, was tied, hadn't seen the light so long. Thought I lost my fight, couldn't find my way back home. And I felt the life snapping out of me. I was bound and tied, waiting for daylight. Bang my head against the wall. Though I felt lightheaded, now I know I will not fall. I will rise above it all. Found what I was searching for. Though I felt lightheaded, I should have fell and hit the floor. Instead, I rose above it all. Bang my head against the wall. Instead, I rise above it all. Bang my head against the wall. When you think of giving up, just know you might think you're dying, but you won't, and you feel
Can you hear me there, Nathan?
something out of you.
Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Welcome.
So there's something on your end.
I think I didn't have Phantom Dust pulled up because I had the screen playing a video, and when I was hovering like the little minimize thing just to check on it, I guess it didn't update. So excited. We do know that so our guests tonight are going to be primarily the moderators of Phantom Dust Revived. It's going to be me, Nathan. Choices might join us later, and then it's going to be Goatrix and Collected Dust, Sandal. I know he's having trouble with an update, so he's going to be a little late. A few minutes more. Not sure where Goat is. Might have a moment where we have to switch to Discord. Nathan, if we use Discord tonight, would that be stressful on you?
No. It's fine.
Okay. Because it sounds like since he's having that update, maybe we should just use Discord. Since Choices is going to come later. So
Yeah,
maybe let's switch over to that.
Is that working?
I might be anyone, a lone fool out in the sun. Your heartbeat of solid gold.
Can people hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You'll never know when the daylight comes.
It is talking. I can't scroll this down.
That was poor choices if you can hear that.
Yeah. I wasn't
Cool.
able to scroll down initially.
God, I got home just in time. Sweet.
Oh, I was muted on my headset. I can hear everybody.
Can you guys hear me? It's collected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're just waiting on Goatrix then, but we can probably get started and just have him join. But we don't have to start right this immediate moment. What's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Right.
Was drinking, had Korean barbecue. Whole big thing.
I had Korean barbecue, and I feel like I've been hearing about it constantly recently.
I can't find
seen,
it
like,
out
2
here
YouTube
anymore.
videos about
I
it.
loved it when I had it in Southern California. But like the only places I find here, like you can only order one item. It's not like the full Korean buffet barbecue, which is like fantastic.
They got one in Philly that where they cook meat right at the table. I guess you order the meat and it's like placed on a hot thing at the center of the table. These kind of mobile heating units. So you kind of cook it to whatever you want, and then. But I've not been.
It's definitely worth it. I kept hearing about it, and when I was in Southern California, I went out of my way to go to one, and then I ended up going like 3 times before I left Southern California. They're fantastic.
Oh, yep, always a good time.
What was the what was the event? Did you say it was a bonfire?
Yeah, essentially, I mean, me and my roommates just sort of all went out with some friends. Went nice Korean place, got liquored up. And then we came back here, had a bonfire going.
So it's interesting to hear your ritual that accompanies, I guess, whatever you do with these children you take away. Bonfires and barbecue.
Well, I actually have that girl texting me now, but she's at a concert. She wants to see if she wants to meet up after the concert, and I'm like, God, probably not. I've been drinking like for 8 or so hours now. I'm exhausted.
Just in time for Phantom Dust discussion. That's right.
I know. She's gonna be like, "Oh, just come over." I'm like, "No, that takes more. What you want to do takes more energy than I want to give right now." Which is sad. If 18-year-old me heard that, he'd be so pissed.
18-year-old you would probably still be happy that you're doing something Phantom Dust related, though.
Yeah, very much. That's probably the last time
So
played before.
Has anybody else peeked at these? I know Nathan has them done, so he's seen them, and he was teasing about a monster group. Has anybody else peeked at them yet?
No.
Good.
I mean,
I've been resisting the urge.
I don't even know where they're posted. Are they in the chat?
I did them to the moderator chat.
I'll have Nathan just put it back up in there again here in a minute.
Okay. I mean, I literally have been out, so
yeah,
except for my text,
you can just repost it in there in a minute.
Okay.
We're just playing footage of you versus Sandal right now, actually.
Gamers versus Sandal.
I wish we had his reaction on the 3-man tournament. I put reduce entropy in the cage on lane, and he was so
you son of a
mad.
bitch. That's against the. It's in violation of the spirit of the competition. Which
Well, choices. Why would you go and pick? Why would you pick lane? If you're the giant, you get to pick the map. Why would you pick lane and just give him a free hang
he
versus
had
you?
already hung. One, because that's not usually a hang against me. I'm very good at getting to the cage as a cartwheeler, except that it was a fucking reduce entropy, so I couldn't throw the Rian I had.
My team ended up having to pick it up anyway because they couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I was sitting here like, oh, it's just going to be me dodging fucking Sandal for 8 minutes.
All right. Well, I guess one thing we can start doing.
Ridiculous.
We can discuss the finals of tag. What I'll do is I haven't actually started the recording yet, so I'll start the recording here in just a second, and then we'll just discuss the finals and the 3rd and 4th place match. I guess we could do 3rd and 4th place first.
I did not see that match. Just a heads up.
Oh, apparently it is recording. I didn't realize it was recording already. Fantastic. Okay, well, I guess this is all going to be on the recording, and I will just have to time it out and put where the show actually starts once I upload this thing. Goodness. So it'll be about 23 minutes in. I'm looking at the video here. So yeah, welcome. This is Club Baroness, Season 2, Episode 8, I believe we're on. 9? I'm not sure right now. I don't know why there was ever a split between the seasons, since it's been kind of jointly created by multiple people. But we do have 2 seasons. And we're going to be talking tonight. We're going to recap the finals and 3rd and 4th place match of the tag tournament that ended just a few weeks ago, and we're going to be unveiling the drawings for the groups for the 1v1 tournament, which will be starting tomorrow, and we're going to be discussing those. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get it underway. Do you guys want to do third and fourth place or the finals first?
I think we should do third and fourth, but I don't know who wants to take the lead on that.
That was your match. Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, I can. It's usually better when somebody else does, though.
I have trouble remembering two of the matches, but I do remember the Palace one being like a laser light show of just rapid fire offense against Sanctus and Zexus, and that was a really quick, furious match.
That was the semifinals. The third and fourth place match was me versus Doom and Kanye again.
Oh, right.
I'm pretty sure we still did that on Palace, though.
Palace, right? No, wait. Did you guys even play on Palace for that one? I thought you guys ended up picking a level.
Let's see.
Where
we started on City, and then I think we went in reverse. No, we went forward.
Yeah. I don't think you guys.
Our last
actually
game
even
was
played
signed.
Palace.
Yeah, we never actually played Palace.
All right.
Did you see that series choices?
I honestly don't know if I did. I don't recall.
I think we casted it.
I'm pretty sure you and Choices did cast it.
It sounds really familiar. It's been a long week. Okay, no, it's coming back to me in bits and pieces. Doom and Kanye versus Bregan. What was interesting about this one was it was pretty much the instant grudge match from the Swiss matchups. But with this one, we don't see Bregan on his natural Palace. But a lot of the stuff that Bregan used the first time around on Doom and Kanye, he kind of pulls out in a similar vein, in that we do see not the best synergy between Doom and Kanye. I think they did a good job of kind of putting the pressure on Doom. And we see Kanye, who's been very solid in this tournament, kind of get picked at. And usually he comes in as a good damage boost. He was doing that a lot throughout the Swiss rounds. And this one, he kind of goes down a little quicker. And I think they were able to get the nice 2-on-1v on Doom. And that happened on multiple maps there, is my recollection of it.
I can tell you, in the first match on City, I remember that it was an odd match in that it ended up being two essentially one-on-ones for a significant portion of the game. It was Bregan versus Doom up high, I think. And then I don't remember which one was which. Who was in like the low pit? Definitely, kind of like isolated from each other. And there came a point where Doom, I think on Blazing or something like that, Blazing or Gehenna, something like medium range and fast moving, came in to attack Bregan, who dropped down to that little alcove spawn point, but the spot kind of like parallel to that. Dropped down a little alcove in front of the jumper there and managed to just barely stay out of sight on Doom, like having to move back and forth constantly while, shooting, I forget, twist lasers or slide lasers or something across the map.
Yeah, he was working up to vibration. But the best part of that is he's putting pressure on Kanye and avoiding the entire Blazing rush.
Moving over him. Yeah, it was actually a really impressive sequence, and I felt like it kind of set the tone for the whole series in a lot of ways. Which was it a sweep? Was it a 3-0 sweep?
It's 3-1.
Then, of course, it got ugly. You did eventually get taken down. He took you off the edge.
But I had killed Kanye before that point.
Had killed Kanye, right, so it was a swap. So the two of them crisscrossed the map, and once the recoveries were made, it was just like laser domination, and Kanye was just getting killed over and over again, right?
Right, that's my memory of it. But again, I mean, it's just, I think Bregan and Monkey came together much more as a team that match than Doom and Kanye, and I don't want to take away from the individual efforts, but I mean, there was a lot to be said for the way the synergy was working out there, especially with the quick 2v1s, because I don't think City was the only map that allowed them to get off quick 2v1s while the other team was just sort of digging.
Yeah. my notes now. So you guys, a pretty solid. It was a pretty solid win by Doom and Kanye on Refinery. So you guys were going forward. I just had that it was an unremarkable game. Otherwise, a win.
You guys had like a
So
treaty
unremarkable,
too,
I'll
right?
just skip the video to Lane. Oh yeah, they broke the treaty. I'd forgotten that. We made a treaty that we wouldn't hang if they didn't run Turbulence, and then they ran. I think it was on either Refinery or Lane.
Why the hell were you trying to negotiate out Turbulence? What were you concerned about?
'Cause
Bregan hates Turbulence.
I do.
What the hell do you use that gets turbed?
Everything.
Or something like what? Dash? I can't think of like what's the skill that you're sweating them taking away with Turbulence?
Bregan packs
Takes away all my damages.
3 frostbites.
They take away all my damages.
No, I get it. Sometimes it's just like it feels like, oh, that's the only thing you do to get rid of my stuff. And
For a while, For a while too, I was really reliant on stun moves, like the dazzles and the paralyzes and decoys, and I had to stop running that because it was just getting taken away every 5 seconds, and it felt like wasted space in my arsenal.
You poor thing.
well, I mean, there's no turbulence for attack skills, so you look at it that way, and it's like,
Exactly.
there
Yeah.
you go.
All right. Well, I'm never going to sympathize with the Bregans and the Sandals of the world. Oh, we didn't get
But
to
you
use
will
our
sit down and
trick.
break bread with them over Phantom Dust.
Oh, of course. I'm never going to be like, oh, no, they didn't get to use their still moment combo. Those poor things.
Hey, you just gotta jump.
Yeah, as a cartwheeler, I loathe the prospect of that.
Story of that
Lane in
series.
particular was the rock shot capital. I don't want to take away from the amount of parabola and good rock shots that were used. Monkey, I think, kept a lot of the aggro. Bregan got in quite a bit of damage, I think, just throwing things from the periphery.
It was generally that was a really well played match, and I thought actually the best of the series. And I think that it was essentially won positionally. I had Bregan and Monkey just controlled the rooftops and had a really good mix, both of them, of like long, medium, and short range skills, and were able to just sort of dictate, the game that they wanted to play. Did you guys use friendships on that?
Monkey friendshipped and then doppelganged.
That was just him doing all of it. Man, I sweat doing that. But I guess out of Doom and Kanye, which of them is going to be flipping you with Armoros or something?
Kanye does run a lot of the turbulence and return to nature stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that lane match, though, to my memory, was really quick. I mean, especially you had that laser that was going around, slide laser was going around that building.
I don't think I don't think that's a read a lot of people would have as like a friendship deck on Lane, and so we got away with it.
So
Yeah.
I do have here that it ended abruptly. Not that it was short, but that you landed a hook shot around a building on consecutive.
Yeah, it was a double hook shot. It just played a moment ago. I hit Doom for 4, which killed him, and then Kanye was at 1, and he went to go make the pickup, and I just hit the same shot back to back.
That was pretty phenomenal timing on that one. I call that.
Then there was Sign, which was... I feel like that was probably our cleanest win, was Sign.
Yeah, I think they were Ted tilted coming into that game, the two of them. And, Christ, we've all been there.
Yeah, it's always a factor.
Yeah,
It's funny.
just
What
remember
happened to
the
them?
lasers
I feel
hitting a
like
lot.
they got, it's one of those maps where you can, like, it's tricky. You can get into a situation where it feels like you've got a really good positional advantage, and then suddenly you find yourself getting attacked at 2 90-degree angles by straight ahead shots, whether it's blasters or it might be. And that was exactly what happened to them. I actually just jumped forward to, like, timestamp it, but, like, 5/6 of the way through that match or so. Yeah, they were behind, but it wasn't looking terrible. And then the game was just over like 20 seconds later. They got into one bad sequence and it was done. And yeah, you're right. There were no recoveries or anything, so the game was just done in one shot. And I mean, it was actually a really impressive sequence by the two of you.
Yeah, I feel like at scenes sometimes it's like someone shoots a laser at you and it doesn't hit, and you're like, all right, I'm okay, I'll start moving now. And then some other angle, someone hits you with that laser, and you're just like, ah. And I think you saw some of that, I think, in that matchup with the angles with the lasers and the blasters, right?
Yeah.
Positionally, the other thing I get stuck with sometimes, I love being up on those like the crow nest spots up on the top of the tower on every side, and sometimes like games will go so well from up there that you'll forget how vulnerable you are. Like God sending lightning bolts down on my opponents, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap! Wait a second, I have no cover at all up here, do I? And you're just like bombarded. Like they eventually, they have to, to shut you down either by jumping up or just by, taking two different angles at you. And I do find that that's a map that can feel like you're winning very solidly, and then very abruptly you've just lost. Perhaps more so than some of the other later levels.
Right. Or I think on that matchup in particular, they both were at pretty decent health, and they both got really low at the same time. And even though they were staying close together, just with the angles and everything that they had on them, it just allows them to pick them off, and then right back to back. I don't think they were even though they were close together, they weren't able to make the pickup because it's two instant kills back to back, which is really good and hard to do on that level. Yeah. So just the coordinated finishes in general is, I think, what carries that team to that victory there.
Yeah. Win, and I think that you don't want to think of that as like a third place finish, but like second among the losing teams. You know what I mean?
Well, if we're going to get technical, every team in the top four lost a game.
That's true. Actually, that is right. So going to the finals match, who wants to take that break? And do you want to talk about the...
Sure. I haven't done a whole lot because that was my match. But yeah, let's talk about the finals. I did the scraps of memory with Xanxus and Xexus 2.
3 months ago.
The finals?
Yeah, it feels to me like it was... probably because I didn't make the cut. It just feels like that happened a really, really long time ago.
The finals was whenever Nathan got knocked out.
I was concerned the tournament ended the moment I died.
Yeah, tournament's over, guys. Sorry. Oh, you wanted to play the bracket stage? Oh, funny thing about that. Yeah, it was. I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point. Because I think we opened up the signups almost right after. But it was Reborn Guinan and Mr. Math in a rematch versus Xanxus and Xexus. And I think like the big storyline for me was just really that Xanxus and Xexus put in more hours and work and had the better synergy. Like they showed up when it mattered. They had a good read. They were able to, one of the things they were always frustrated by was this grind out style that Guinan would put them through because he knows that they tend to build somewhat attack inefficient arsenals. And they brought Judge of Ares like 2 or 3 times that series. And it was really rough on Guinan. And he wasn't able to play the same grind out style he normally likes to play, which you did see him try to. He brought lots of array shields. But Xanxus and Xexus had put in the time, had the better synergy. And even though we see a lot of really good individual play from Math and from Guinan, like both of them play really well, we didn't see them play together as much as we saw Xanxus and Xexus play. And that was really what spelled it out. It came out. The games were close in most of the 3 games, but it came out in a 3-0 win for Xanxus and Xexus, and I think a lot of that had to do with the time they put in, the read they had, and just the synergy was far better.
And I don't want to nitpick, but I do remember having watched this one live that there were some questionable choices, some poor choices, if you will, out of Reborn and Math.
Oh, Panorama.
Particularly Panorama, there was some mistakes there. City, I was really puzzled by Reborn's deck choice. with the all cartwheeler based attacks,
That's
which maybe
fair
would have
point.
worked if he had started in a high spawn. But spawning with the pit with all those crawlers was doing him no good. And you even have that shot where he's chasing with crawlers, doesn't throw it. I mean, doesn't go for the quick pickup, tries to finish one-on-one. There's just a few little things that everything felt slightly off. I mean, the letting your partner die on purpose on Refinery to bring him back, and then just sort of waiting to get picked apart. Just little things where I don't think that they were playing at the top of their game the way we usually expect out of those players. And I don't want to take away from Reborn and Math. I mean, God knows they can tear me apart pretty simply, but just not used to seeing, those little mistakes out of them that I think sort of added up. And Xanxus and Zexus, if they see an opening, I mean, they are very good at quick aggression and coordinated aggression that really capitalize on those mistakes, and I think they did. And that was why we saw that result.
I thought the city match was like a real nail biter at times. I mean, there was a point where Xanxus was like literally naked of any skills, and he had to go pick up Zexus, and he just barely threaded the needle on that one. And then Zexus was like, he had no shields and he had to deal with those crawlers, but he kept kind of minimizing the damage possibilities by throwing himself off the map, just to do anything to minimize the damage that was being dealt at him while Math and Guinan were double teaming on him.
Goodness, I've got the Panorama match playing right now, and I have to say, at least in my head, I remembered it was closer towards the beginning, but they got torn apart on Panorama in the second half of that map.
Yeah, I think the Amoros, they were trying to undo it, and it just kind of messed up their flow, and Sextus and Xanxus managed to take advantage of the openings on them.
Yeah,
on that
and
part.
Math was running Orb instead of Amulet, which I heard was kind of a mistake because they didn't get in the prep time they wanted. And so then they weren't able to purify his own stats from that. And then, so they if you watch it, they hit the Armoros, and then they turb away Guinan's Tiger Strength back to back. So they go from having Tiger Strength Guinan +2 heat Math in about 2 seconds to -2 Math and Guinan with a hyper kick. Like, that was just brutal. And then you watch them just basically steal every shield, and just the Ricochet just does tons of damage from there.
I was actually just watching the city match, and you're not kidding. That recovery.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Oh shit, it works. Okay, good. Yeah, for whatever reason, for the longest time, my headset wouldn't work on the PC, so good to know.
All right. Well, welcome, Goatrix. We're just talking about the finals right now.
From the 1v1?
From
the tag?
Yeah, talking about the tag finals.
Do you have like an itinerary post in there so I can take a look?
Yeah, I can send that to you.
Yeah, sorry. I just got done with my fighting game tournament shit, so.
How'd you do?
I won.
Oh, heck yeah.
$140, so I'll take that.
You'll see it in the text channel for Phantom Dust is where I put it.
Yeah, I'm seeing it now. So is this quarters, semis, and playoffs, is this from the 1v1 or from the tag?
What?
Tag.
Oh, sorry.
Tag finals.
I'm scrolling down. There we go. Okay, there it is. Okay, sorry, because it first pulled up, I was like, it had all the stuff at the top.
Yeah, we're just talking about the finals, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the format of the 1v1, and then we'll move into the pairings.
1v1 live pairings. And there are how many players in each of these? 9, 8, 8, and 8?
Yes.
Nice. That's right.
Wow! There wasn't a way to
different animal now.
There wasn't a way to make them any smaller?
We could just start kicking people.
No. What I mean is like there wasn't I take it this was the best mathematical way to break these down.
Yeah, unfortunately, like because if we want the bracket to kind of produce from it, the 4 groups is ideal. We didn't have quite enough players to make 8 groups look good.
I see. Okay, well that all makes sense. So let's see here. Tag finals and third place match recap, 1v1 rules and format, live pairings. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess we're kind of wrapping up the finals as it was. Did anybody have anything else they wanted to add on the finals matchup? Goat, any of your thoughts?
God, I can't even. I'm trying to remember. I just know that there's just a couple points where it's just like they just fell apart and just because what was it? Was it 3-0? Yeah, it was a 3-0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they were close matches, but it was just a nasty sweep.
Yeah, we saw some really good like one of the points I made was that we saw really good individual play out of both Guinan and Math. We didn't really see them play together, and I don't think it wasn't their best showing, and we saw some really questionable decisions to go with it.
Panorama was probably the ugliest match because there was one point when I think one of them, the one who had the orb, needed to use that opportunity when Guinan died. Yeah, it was Math. He had the orb. He needed to use the opportunity when Guinan died to get rid of the orb so he could fix the stats. Because they wasted way too much time on that.
Yeah, there was a lot of rough spots in that series.
Yeah, I think that was the one that threw me off the most. But like the rest of the time, it felt like it could have gone either way. But just Zexus and Xanxus just got like the better hit at the very end.
Yeah. Choices, Greg, Nathan, anybody have anything else they want to talk about finals?
I just want to give credit for Math. I think, was it Refinery with just that crazy sequence that led to that pickup?
That was one of the best pickups of the tournament.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite pickup of the entire tourney.
That was
so
like
I just wanted to call that out in particular.
That felt like a full 30, 40 seconds of just like trying to maneuver over there to get that pickup too.
Yeah, I was talking about it in the cast.
Him until he had one down. It was just spectacular. It was a great recovery.
Yeah, I was talking about it in the cast. Like he needed to make a kill in order to get the pickup, and that is eventually what he did. He managed to get the kill and make it, and it was quite good.
We're
getting a lot of feedback noise from you, Goat.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you because there's like nothing else going on in the background. It's kind of fuzzing out.
It's like beeping noises out of you.
Deep in here. Like I said, it's kind of fuzzing in and out for me.
Are you blowing a robot?
Yeah, could you like try unplugging it, plugging it back in, or rejoin, like leave and rejoin real quick?
Yeah. 1 second. I take it it's not any better? Not really?
No.
It could just be a headset, honestly.
Oh, it's really bad.
Do you want me to just join on my phone instead? It was pretty crystal clear when I did that. Oh.
We're going to start on the 1v1 format then. Let's see. I might just pull up the post where I had the rules and put that on here. If I can find those real quick. Does anybody else have those pulled up?
The groupings? I did.
Not the groupings.
The rules.
Yeah, the rules. So I'll bring... Oh, that's still the wrong post right there.
October 16th, 2017. This feels relevant to the...
There we go. I've got them now.
Right.
Yeah, somebody managed to necro that thread.
Yeah.
All right. So, does anybody want to go over this, or would you rather I do it?
Go ahead. I mean, it's your system. I think it's a good system. Let's hear you talk about it.
Okay, so we're going to run it pretty similarly to the last tournament for the 1v1. We had more people sign up this time, which has made it a little bit more interesting. Just we're going to have to see how the system supports some larger numbers of participants. As last time, I think we had 24, and this time we ended up with 33 people signed up for the tournament. You will be randomly seeded using Nathan's secret Caribbean voodoo magic into one of 4 groups. If you'd like, Nathan, you can give a brief overview of how that actually works.
I take all the participants in the tournament. I alphabetize the names. I select in advance a headline, which in this case was the 11 p.m. A headline at the Onion. So this would be like the top headline, which was a joke about
James Comey.
releasing a report about about Martha Stewart, I think, right? So anyway, all I'm taking that headline for is for the letters that are in it. I take just the letters, the characters that appear in that headline, and I use those letters to sequence the names, and that's how I do all the random seedings at the start of all the tag tournaments, and that's how we did the randomized seedings for this as well. It's sort of a pseudo random system. It's something that it's random enough for our purposes because it's certainly something that's well outside of my control or anyone else's control, unless I don't know, something that was so newsworthy it managed to become a headline at the place I was going to be using the headline from.
I mean, I guess to be fair, if there was a news platform that would be willing to jank a headline for us, it might be The Onion.
Yeah, I will say that one minor thing, and I don't want to be political about it, but the word Trump appears with like astonishingly high regularity at this point on basically all news sources as the first word. So it's almost always the case. And because all those letters are kind of clustered together, I was concerned about, sometimes that resulting in a couple of players who are close together alphabetically ending up playing each other. But ultimately, that doesn't matter that much.
Hence why we chose to use The Onion this time. So after you've been seeded into one of these 4 groups, which we're going to reveal here after we're done talking about the format and rules, you'll have to play round robin style in your group, which will be either lettered A through D. Choices may come up with some fun names for the different groups. And you'll play round robin style, which means you play every single member of your group. So you'll have 8 or 9 members in there, so you'll have either 7 or 8 matches to play, and we'll give you 4 weeks in which to do that. Since we have more players, we're extending round 1. Last time it was 3 weeks. This time we're going to give you 4 weeks. Since you have a few more opponents to play against, we'll make you a group chat that is going to include all of the members of your group. In there, you can coordinate with them about when you're going to play whoever. And it's not so hard because in tag you have to coordinate 4 people, but this you just have to, coordinate when you're going to be on and see how many of those people you can get to show up whenever you're on, or coordinate specific times. It's not too bad. It worked really well in the last one. It was pretty easy. And you can also, I'll be in all of these chats. You can let me know when you're going to play, or we'll have a couple of other people, I'm sure, that would be willing to record. Likely people like Zanxis will help you record, or Kamikaze Mario, I believe, also records. There's a couple players are on frequently and might be willing to help you record your matches. And if you get them submitted to me, we'll do a cast and commentary of your match. We've had in the past 2 tournaments almost 100% coverage, which we're really proud of, and we'd like to continue that because it's a lot of fun for us to do it. For one, and then also I think it's just great content for the community. Thank you, Kanye, throwing up notifications for my Facebook while I have the rules up here. And so
the only other thing I would add to that is that, as far as these rooms go, when we set up the chat, essentially on Facebook, what the hell are they called? The threads, whatever the hell.
Group chats.
The group chats, thank you. They will function essentially like a looking for group. I mean, pretty much what you can do as a participant in this tournament is go on there and just say, is anyone on? Because there's literally no one else. All you need is yourself and the other player. And then ideally, you can grab Bragan or any of the other recorders and get your game casted. But coordinating these things shouldn't be too bad. I would advise against waiting close to the deadline because there are quite a few games that have to be played. I mean, it averages out to 2 games a week. Which is quite a bit if you get down to 4 days left and you don't have any of your games played.
Yeah, we do understand that you want to be able to practice and get ready, but that was also part of the purpose of the long signups. Hopefully at this point you've got some arsenals made, you've got some preparation in. And yeah, be proactive. Try and get your matches in early. Don't wait until the end. That is far better for us as well because we're trying to make sure everything gets coordinated and taken care of. To advance from your group. So we're going to talk about now what you need to advance, because you're going to kind of play this. It's almost like the regular season again style, where you play these 7 or 8 matches. So everybody is guaranteed 7 or 8 matches, which we love the way that works. You cannot get eliminated until you've played 7 or 8 matches, unless you choose to eliminate yourself and leave the tournament, which we hope you don't do as well. But to advance from that first stage, it's going to be based on your score. You'll be ranked in your group 1 through 8 or 1 through 9, and you need to place in the top 3 of those 8 players or 9 players in order to advance to the next round. So the way that'll work afterwards is we're going to break it down into a single elimination bracket style. So yes, we make sure you get a lot of games early, but once the first cut is made, we're going to be losing about 2/3 of the playing field, and you only, 1 loss and you're out after that, which is brutal, but we have to, kind of wrap things up towards the end of the tournament. And so there will be 12 players total, and each group is going to have a first seed, a second seed, and a third seed. So the first seeds, the people who place first in their group, will get a bye for the next round. And the next round will consist of second seeds from a group playing a third seed of a different group. So say you play second seed in Group B, you might end up playing the third seed from either Group A, C, or D. The winner of those matches then advances to play one of the first seeds in the next round, and then that's 8 players left, and it just kind of goes into a single elimination, regular bracket style from there. But that way we get 3 people advancing from each group. The cutoff isn't quite as brutal. We still reward first seeds with the bye, and then they get to play. They won't play each other until semifinals. They will play either a second or third seed winner from the second round. It's all on there. It might be a little bit confusing for me to put out there. Sometimes I'm not as always eloquent and descriptive as I'd like out loud. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I would add to it is, as again, looking at it from the perspective of a participant in this tournament, if you are one of the 3 people who emerges from your group, as continuing into the second round, you're going to be scattering. You and the other 2 people from your group will not be facing each other again until at least you've gotten into the bracket phase, like at the end of the tournament.
Semifinals would be the earliest you could face again.
Yeah, so the first seed obviously is just going to be getting a bye right through what's essentially the second round, and the 2 seed and the 3 seed will be playing people from other groups. So in case that, for instance, a group got really stacked with very strong players, if the 3 of you were to, let's say, get out of that group, there's a good chance that you would still be able to finish, let's say, 1, 2, and 3 in the whole tournament. You're not jamming back into each other too soon after the opening round.
Well, the other thing that's kind of interesting about it is, like, these people are your opponents, but kind of over the group stage and then into the bracket stage, it's almost like your own team. We saw that kind of develop in the last one, where people kind of had these loyalties to the people advancing from their group. They were rooting for the people that beat them and advanced from their group. And you would also see the first and second seed would be like, well, we're not going to play each other again until semis or finals possibly. And then they would start kind of becoming scrim partners too. So you'd see people scrimming together from inside their group. You'd see them, rooting for the people that came out of their group. So you can kind of look at it almost like your own team as well. Whoever's topping your group, root for them. They also represent you later on in the tournament. If you got knocked out by these people that were in your group, root for those guys, because then you want the people that knocked you out to do well, right? And so I think that'll be a lot of fun to watch again as well.
Yeah, we've talked about that precise notion of there being a team aspect to this, which is really cool. We've never really come up with a good way to formalize that in any way that could be rewarded with a point system or anything. But you're right. It's some natural camaraderie emerges when you're sort of clustered in with the same group of people watching everyone play each other as well.
Yeah, everybody wants to have the hard path too, so you can brag about, look where I didn't get through, but look who I had to play.
Yeah.
I had to walk 15 miles in the snow to get my groceries. I mean,
literally 15 miles in the snow with that many players in your pods.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll go over the rest of the rules, which most people are familiar with. If you have questions, you can always message us. There will be a moderator in each one of the group chats as well that can answer questions. Basically, it's not going to be too crazy. We are going to go back to, at least for the first round, just because it'd be too hard to keep track of pick direction. We're going to go back to ban. So each player will elect to ban one of the maps, and then they will play a best of 5 from there. And as far as any restrictions, there really isn't. There's no Arsenal School or hanging restrictions, no kid gloves for this one. Any intentional map glitches, like if you're not familiar with them, don't worry about it. You won't do it by accident. So if you do a map glitch, that is an instant forfeit. You won't be booted from the tournament, but you will forfeit that match. If you do it again, then we'll have to discuss what's going on from there. But we don't really anticipate that. Nobody's ever done it in a tournament match, so that hopefully won't be a problem. We've covered it briefly, or not briefly, but in extreme depth before, the lag out rules, the silent rule. And I'm just going to read it for now. If you have questions about the lag out rules, please message a moderator. We don't want bad feelings in this tournament and people to get upset. And we've had that in the past. So we've made a hard rule for it. It's called the silent rule, after Silent, who kind of created it. If a player lags out of a match or is dissatisfied with the lag produced by their opponent, we implement the silent rule. This allows you to replay the map you are currently on in a best of 3 format. The player who did not lag out or is accused of lagging, after taking appropriate steps to affix or performing a lag test, gets a win in this best of 3 on the current map. If the player that lagged out or complained of lag wins the second match on that map, they will then play the map for a third time for all the marbles. If the other player wins the second one, they take the map and the series continues. So basically, you just kind of turn it into a mini best of 3 on the map you're currently on. The player complaining of lag or that lagged out takes an automatic loss in that. This rule is only applicable once in the series. If you lag out of multiple maps, you will forfeit the round to your opponent. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. Does anybody else here feel like there's anything else we should cover on the format of the rules? Anything we've missed?
There actually is something I realized I didn't do in the pairings, which is assign who is going to be picking band first.
We could do something
Generally,
again.
do alphabetical.
Yeah, we could do whoever, something like that. We could say whoever's gamer tag is alphabetically second, bands first. Does anybody
Sounds
sound
good.
Sounds fair.
It sounds pretty good. I get, the one concern about that is there a meaningful advantage to banning second?
Yeah, but
I mean, alphabetical if records are even. If records aren't even, then the lower, the more lost player with more losses would ban second, I would say. I think
Actually,
covers
that seems like a good compromise because it's actually dynamic too once the tournament
Sure.
gets going.
If you have same records, the gamer tag that comes alphabetically second will ban first. If you have opposing records, then the better record player bans first.
And it'll have to go by win percentage. That is series win percentage, because we have people with, like, one guy with 5 games played, one guy with 1 game played.
All right. Does everybody have it ready? The group pairings. Are we ready to go live with this?
Yeah.
Can you show me it? Where is it going to be?
I put it in the
You
moderator chat.
Could you post it in the Discord as well, maybe for people who maybe can't see that?
Sandal, the pairings are in your. You just have to search your feeling.
My mic broke up, so I can only imagine what you said to me.
That's probably for the best. When in doubt, just ignore choices.
All right. Well, I want to make sure everybody has it ready, so that way we can get reactions all at once. Don't cheat. Don't look at them yet until we have everybody has it pulled up.
You sound like my mom during Christmas.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have it up now?
No, I don't.
Okay.
You sent it to the moderator group, or where'd you send it? Is it on your Twitch?
Are you guys playing right now?
Playing?
Phantom Dust.
I
Oh
don't
no,
seem
we're
to be
not playing
getting.
right now. We're doing a podcast.
Oh, should I leave?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I don't know where you guys are posting or messaging this to me. I'm not getting it from anywhere.
Here, give me a second, and I'll try and put it in the chat here. If I can find the image, I just saved it. I didn't check what it was. There it goes. Okay. Should be in the
Okay, I got
Discord
it.
chat now.
Okay, got it now. Xenxus and Zexus. So is that alphabetized thing cause
All
their
right, let's
destiny?
bring it up. Let's bring it up.
No, it's random.
All right.
Actually, the two of them barely ended up in the same group. I felt bad. I thought when I first did it, I looked at it, and I didn't think they were together. But then I was like, oh, they are. Oh, well.
Ooh, I got choices. I lost my scrim partner, man.
We can still practice. Oh man, I can call out a couple storylines.
Okay, well let's go bit by bit. I guess we'll start with Group A. We'll talk about the players in it and then make some predictions. Sound good?
Sure.
Okay, so Group A, we've got Affin Show, Daffy Duck, King David 73, Mr. Math 101, Murder Mastodon, MX Bigfoot, Obsidian Blade, Painted Lemon, and Snow Rise. It's an interesting group. Let's talk about the players as we go down.
Know at all.
Group A, your nickname is Group All the People Poor Choices Doesn't Know. Group all the people that Reborn Geigen has paired with in the tag tournament. And group just all the people because damn, you are the biggest group.
Yeah. We got a lot of the players in there that I think a lot of us don't know as well. And that's definitely interesting to see that draw there. So Affin, we've seen him in quite a few tournaments. He hasn't had any stellar performances yet. He has been touting a new damage-heavy style that maybe could turn some things around for him. Has been known for some janky arsenals hanging in the past. He could definitely make some moves in this group. I don't know if I would really favor him for advancement, but could definitely make some moves in here. Daffy actually made quarterfinals in his debut appearance in this past tag tournament. If people remember that.
Okay.
So he could be an interesting one in here. We haven't really seen him on his own. He and Filthy did play pretty well together in the tag tournament. What are you guys' thoughts on Daffy and Affin, I guess, to start off?
I just played Daffy the other day. Daffy's more solid than I think a lot of people give him credit for. I know for a while he had some decks that he favored heavily, and people were good at countering those. But Daffy is a pretty dynamic player if he's actually paying attention and likes to bring different things to the 1v1. I mean, I think he's my favorite right now for the third from this group.
I've played some 1v1s with him maybe like a few months ago, and there was good wins and losses between us, and he had some matches where it was like going in my favor, and he managed to turn it around and win those matches. I'm not as familiar with Affin Show. I think we played a while back. I know he got some good like Dance of Death, Cycle Burst kind of stuff to get some wins too.
Yeah,
and that seems to follow your big damage storyline.
Does anybody really know King David 73?
Not at all. Not at all. And I just to clarify, we are saying here that Math and Macedon are the two are like going to be 1-2 most likely in some combination. And
that is my prediction.
Battle for 3. Yeah, and that was my first thought too. But I don't know these other guys. You know, it really. I literally I don't think I know another person on this page after Daffy. So King David, MX Bigfoot, Obsidian Blade, Painted Lemon, and Snow Rise. I don't think I've ever played any of them.
I did just also play with the Obsidian Blade. He's fairly solid. The game shook out in a certain direction. I don't want to discredit him and say, he wasn't good or that something was happening. I don't know
Just
if that's
saying.
going to translate into 1v1, but he was a fairly solid player. When I'm looking at this, there are the names you recognize, and you put a play style to a player, and I think you're always going to, lean in favor of the player you know better, even if the unknown has a decent shot at it. So with this one, I mean, it's a large group. There's a lot of unknowns, but I mean, we saw that from Shadow Shield. Shadow Shield was unknown to Geigen, and because of that, we've got a highlight reel. Geigen gets his ass kicked by Psycho Burst. So
One of the finest highlight reels I've ever seen in my life.
Because there's something to be said for nobody. So we very well could get the most surprises out of that group in particular.
I know King David played the game when it first came out. I'm not very familiar with how he plays, though, so it's kind of a wild card. But he does know how to play the game, that's for sure.
I know I've played with some of these guys. I played with MX Bigfoot recently and Obsidian Blade recently. Both are, I feel like they may have played back in the day, but kind of newer to the scene right now. So they're still getting their feet wet there. We could see some development out of them, which I think would be really exciting. And I think the race for third could get messy. I mean, I think Daffy is probably favored in that race for third. But there's some players here that could definitely give him a run for his money. Affin is not a pushover himself. MX Bigfoot and Blade both have some room to grow. I honestly don't think I've played with Painted Lemon yet. I know I tried to get a match or two in with him. I don't think I've had a chance. And I'm pretty sure I've played with Snow Rise, but I can't really remember anything from having played him. But I do know that he's been playing for a while.
Like SomePoorChoices was just saying, anything can happen. I feel fairly confident, assessing tag teams now. I think we all have a good sense of how they shake out, but there are a lot of wild cards here. And again, particularly given the outcome of the last singleton tournament with Shadow Shield, who, to my mind, kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I've since played him, and the guy can, he can play. It's that thing of you just don't know what someone's going to bring, especially when they truly are just an unknown quantity.
Yeah, I mean, I was like the only person who knew Shadow Shield coming into that tournament from the people that were in the podcast, and I called it. I said he was going to be good, and he delivered. It was impressive to watch, at least in the group stage. He ran into some trouble, some unnamed trouble in the quarterfinals. Very impressive showing in the group stage last time. And this group really is really open. I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun to watch a lot of these players that we don't know that much about and see, especially that fight for third place. I don't think anybody's going to be able to knock Murder or Math out of here. Both former partners of Guinan, both tag tournament finalists. We've seen Math in the semifinals of both 1v1 tournaments as well. I don't think anybody's knocking those two off. It'll be fun to watch them play each other. I'm really interested to see that matchup, to see who tops this group and gets the bye, which will be really important.
I know Murder hasn't. I think because of that.
Choices, you're breaking up a lot. Or if you can plug in your mic or replug it in. Anybody else have a comment on that while he's handling that?
I think that pretty much covers it for Group 1 for me.
Well, I don't know. Like, I think Snow Rise is the only name I've actually heard of out of this group. I think it'd be very interesting if one of the 5 mystery players actually turned out to be a lot more impressive. I think it'd actually be really cool if actually 2 of them ended up finishing in the top 3 of this group, and we see one of the expected players that we all kind of figure are going to make it not make the cut because of that, because it helps bring new life into the game. So I'm really actually hoping that these newcomers actually put up a really good showing and manage to actually bump most of the known players out of contention.
That'd be pretty funny, or not pretty funny, but it'd be pretty exciting rather to see Shadow Shield 2.0. See if Snow Rise or Blade, Painted Lemon, somebody like that could step up and make that difference.
I mean, if it's Murder getting knocked, but
I'm sorry, I didn't really catch that choices.
No, I didn't.
Damn,
I
I like
thought that
when
was a really
Murder
good
is.
point.
It's hilarious, but never mind.
If we're gonna go by just the names, because that's all the data I really have, I want Painted Lemon to be like the super secret top tier.
It's one of those
Some reason
names
I
that you
think
look
he's
at it
a-
and you're like, you want to know where it comes from, but you're kind of scared to ask.
Probably the Xbox Live, because there used to be a live name randomizer. If you couldn't think of a
It does
name,
look like one of those, yeah.
it looks like one of those. I remember, what was his name? Devil Spoon got his name from one of those. That's an old ass player.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it
Yeah.
sounds like it could be something really dirty.
Maybe he just has an interesting hobby.
Anybody else have anything else to talk about in Group A without going into Painted
Oh
Lemon's
man,
finishes?
I just wish it's Orange Baby and Painted Lemon were in the same group now.
All right, I guess let's move on to
Yeah.
Group B. Group B will consist of myself, Bragan123, Ebony Scarface, Hero of Time, It's Orange Baby, Kamikaze Mario, War Machine, SomePoorChoices, another panelist here, and Spidey. What- What's your hot take on this group, guys?
I love that Ebony's playing you because you always say that Ebony has the most obnoxious play style, and now you have to deal with it.
Well, I'm curious to see if it holds in the 1v1.
I'm looking forward to seeing it too, with him against all the other players.
I just hope everyone from my group bans Palace.
Well, I think he's been changing up his play style, but I remember a conversation, I think it was me and Evolution had with Scarface one day. We're sitting there talking, and he's like agonizingly slow over choosing his arsenal for the next game. We're like, dude, pick an arsenal already. They're all the same, because he does have very distinct play style. And he's like, man, they ain't all the same. I was like, just pick your recall arsenal. He's like, well, they all got recall. They all got recall. Come on, man. They are all the same. They're all recall. They're all diabolical trick. They're all
6
array
array
shields. How many vacuum walls can you break through? But he is a
1v1.
very good player individually. I'm interested to see how he transitions to 1v1. He's not somebody who's played a lot of 1v1 that I've seen, but slowly over time, I think he is breaking into that A tier of players. He's gotten very good.
Yeah.
I mean, if Obsidian is time, might be the most dangerous player.
What?
You guys, Obsidian posted about Hero of Time just running train.
Oh yeah, Hero of Time.
Oh,
He is a notable 1v1 specialist. He has a similar storyline to Shadow Shield in the last tournament, because Shadow Shield is somebody who played primarily 1v1. Not a lot of people knew him. Hero of Time kind of comes in the same way. Not everybody knows this guy, but he is somebody who plays a lot of 1v1. I think some of the other 1v1 specialists, like I think Shadow Shield and Esper, for example, two of the notables, are better than Hero of Time, but he is somebody who specializes in this game mode, so he is in his environment here. And then we also have some other strong contestants. I haven't really played against Spidey much. War Machine had a couple of great games in the last 1v1. He was fun to watch. Mario was also featured on that highlight reel with some nasty plays. And Poor Choices made quarterfinals in the last 1v1 tournament as well. So we've got some other strong entrants in Group B. I think one of my favorite things is going to get to watch Poor Choices and Mario duke it out. The tag partners.
I'm gonna say that beats me with the Scrim 1v1. And I'm not sure if that's just because I've played more with him than I have with any of the rest of the people. But he's definitely more dangerous than I think he showed in the last 1v1, and more dangerous than I think he gets credit for. Also, I mean, you did see some footage out of him out of tag, but with his 1v1, when he's not cartwheeling, shout out, when he's not cartwheeling, he's a very dynamic player, and I don't think he gets all the credit he deserves on that.
I just can't wait to see you guys deal with 20 plus environmentals thanks to It's Orange Baby. That's
I will have all
Most-
the turbulence.
Most people at max bring 3 environmentals in a deck. It's Orange Baby brings a minimum of 6.
Yeah, could be up. Could be up to.
Is that really true? I think it's three.
I don't know. It might be.
like we're literally going to see probably 100 environmentals in this pool alone because of him.
And they're gonna be like, wait, what does this one do? Is it Forest Sanctuary or is it Reduce Entropy? I can't remember.
Well, he'll play one then.
Yeah. I don't know. Bring Reincarnation, bring Judgment, and, pray a
Triple
lot.
Crush. Bring Triple Crush and break all the hang stuff first.
Does he actually hang? I don't.
He
No,
plays
he
a
doesn't.
roller.
Hang.
Like, he plays a
No,
roller.
he plays them straight up. He just has them, but he's not.
Hank-
He plays them straight up.
I think if he has a chance to hang, sometimes he will. Like on the bridge on Palace, like an easy one that he can just toss it out. I think he will.
Hang them on choices at least.
That's fine. I will. I have turn all the turbulence.
The quickest
all
way
the
to tilt
orbs.
choices would be to hang on him
No.
every match.
He will bring three. He'll bring a 3 Judgment, 3 Crush arsenal.
Yeah,
for that.
you act like I don't have all those in all arsenals. Multiple orbs, judgments,
Well-
crushes, and return to natures.
Well,
You
the
know
problem
what I
is
have.
Orange, since he'll run 6 enviros on you to screw you on both ends, you have to run both.
All right,
I'm
so
not worried about that.
Bring the memory lapse then.
I don't think we've heard much out of you on this group, Nathan. What are some of your thoughts here?
Do you know that 3-school arsenals, if you're on a 3-school arsenal, you die more slowly if you get popped out?
I did not know that.
I did not.
I didn't know there was any.
So does it go up? Do you die based on R regen or something then?
Stands to reason.
It does kind of stand to reason, though, doesn't it? It's one of those rumors that it would be really difficult to disprove. But
Well,
I don't know.
No, you
for
could
sure if it's true or
have
not.
someone. You
We
have
can go test this right now.
violent change two
If
different.
someone's going to test it, it's going to be Sandal.
And
Yeah,
maybe we'll
probably.
test it towards the end of the podcast. But yeah, I guess besides the interesting tidbit, what are some of your thoughts on this one, Nathan?
Like we were saying before, I don't have a clear sense of where people stand in terms of 1v1, except that I know that like Esper and Doom and Shadow Shield, there are a few players, Cagnoon, who are just brutal to play against 1v1. And actually you too, Bragan. I mean, in terms of some of it comes down to like some of the little deets and tricks and things that, like sword feints and that kind of stuff. But some of it is just like having a really strong understanding of where the power positions are on each map and making sure that you're floating around in those as opposed to going out where you're going to be vulnerable. Which is really just a really long-winded way of saying that I suck at 1v1, and so it's hard for me to assess these people. But it's true that there are a lot of old-timers here who very well could be dangerous. My initial scan of this group was not that this was like a power group. Yeah, I think I think there's definitely going to be some very tough matches to come out of there, and I couldn't even guess who it's going to be. I assume that Breaking will be one of them, and SomePoorChoices will be one of them. But I wouldn't be surprised if Kamikaze, it's Orange, can be tough under the right circumstances. Hero of Time can be tough. I really don't know what's going to happen there in Group B.
Let's
It's a
make some
mystery to me.
predictions then. Who tops the group?
I think SomePoorChoices tops.
Yeah,
You're not allowed
I'm
to
gonna go
vote for
SomePoorChoices as
yourself.
well. I think SomePoorChoices, and I'm not him.
He knows all of Reagan's weaknesses now that he trained with him.
Hey, tell him about your scrim record.
My pick is Bragan, but God, do I like trolling him.
My long shot pick would be Ebony Scarface.
And I mean, 3 people are going to come out of this group. I really don't know. I don't know who it's going to
Well,
be.
ignoring myself, I feel like Ebony Scarface is probably the strongest one on this list.
Yeah, he's very dangerous.
I haven't played him in 1v1, but I feel like his playstyle in tag would transition really well to 1v1. So I've already been sitting here thinking in my brain like, how do I beat that in a 1v1, honestly? But it might also be easier because usually when I play him, I have to worry about not only his array shields, but whoever he's playing with knows he runs a lot of array shields, so they bring extra just to make it worse every time. So maybe it won't be as bad because I only have one player's worth of array shields to break through.
You
So-
only need
That
Tiger
recall.
Strength Reincarnation for 3 vacuum walls instead of 6.
Well, I mean, he's running recalls, so there's going to be at least 6. So, point being, I think he'll be really good in this group. I feel like the race for third will be really interesting. So it sounds like most people are looking at
Maybe even
Ebony.
second.
Yeah, I don't
know.
say that Ebony's a
think
lock at
there's
second, but I feel like he's a good percentage
variability.
chance. So, all right, I guess if you feel like there's one person who's advancing, which is myself, and we talk about who's going to be the other two, who do you vote? Maybe not necessarily second or third, but who are your other two to advance from the group then?
Jeez. I'm gonna go with Ebony and Mario. I don't know. Poor Choices he was semifinalist, but I haven't played as much with him
Quarterfinalist.
lately, so I don't know there. I know Mario's he seems like he's been experimenting with a lot of different styles, and I think that'll help him adapt to it. But I don't know, between those three, they're probably going to be clawing at each other, and even the other guys in this group, I really don't know. But that's where I'm going.
I feel like Hero with some prep could make some waves. I feel like he has a decent percentage chance of making it out. I don't think a lot of people know his play style, and I think maybe he could pull out some upsets if he puts in some prep.
Yeah, I thought he was a Japanese player. I played with him, I think, a little bit when the game first re-released, and I don't know if he just came back recently or not, but my scant memory thinks he was solid. So I don't know how he's gonna do.
He's probably
He's not
not
bad.
liquid.
All right, Nathan Goat, who's your 2 and 3?
You act
Go
like I put
with
you up-
Hero of Time as number 1. As number 2. SomePoorChoices as number 3. I think it's a huge upset, and Brady don't even get out of that.
Yeah, you beat me to it, Nathan.
You said Hero of Time, Choices, and who? Mario?
Oh, I said, wait. God damn it.
I didn't hear
said
any of
Hero
those
of
names.
Time.
Okay. Hero of Time, Ebony, and then SomePoorChoices is the third.
Yeah, you're betting that I will lose to all 3 of those players.
Yes, and others as well. I think you'd come out of that perhaps, say 2 and 5.
Man,
But
Nathan.
no, there's only 6 games.
I think Nathan's still salty from 2 tag tournaments ago. Jeez. What about you, Goat?
I mean, I like Ebony, but I think, and as much as I want to, go that you're not making it out, I kind of know better. So I'm gonna say Hero of Time and Mario.
Okay.
I think Ebony could
Interesting.
do it, and he would be like he'd be my fourth place pick. But the only thing with Ebony is I know that he does fall apart under pressure. So in the clutch, I'm not sure that he'll be able to follow through on those games that are going to be enough to get him out of that pool. That's where my thought is.
Just
Okay.
heard that I'm 5th or below on Goat's list.
Choices. Who's your 3 coming out?
Bregan, I think, is a bet at least for first or second. I think people would be crazy not to put him up there given his track record. Ebony is probably my dark horse from the group. we do know what we think he's bringing, but that doesn't necessarily make a deck to deal with. Heroes, to me, is still a question mark. And I do want to say that Kamikaze, when he's on, is very hard to deal with. But I don't want to count myself out either. So I will say between third, it might be me or Kamikaze or Ebony. So of those four, three of them are getting out.
I think it'll be myself, Ebony, and then Poor Choices, personally. Ooh, that's loud, Nathan.
Yeah, I know. I was just looking at something. Let me ask you a question. You guys were alluding to something like Ebony. We all know what he plays. What is it that he plays typically?
Recalls and array shields.
Violent change.
Literally, he's running like a cycling.
Popping, yeah, get you out.
He'll have like a flame sword and a blaster. Somehow you won't ever erase them, and then he'll just recall, vacuum wall, and array shells and erasers. And yeah, basically just has never-ending arsenals that will grind you out if you're not careful.
Him and
He'll
Tim
just-
play a very similar style.
He's very, which doesn't sound intimidating. Efficient.
He plays kind of like Dark Mage used to way back in the day. That might be something that
I
you're
remember
familiar
that.
with.
Yep.
And
But with
1v1, it's brutal. I
100%
mean, you can.
It's not a bad play style. It's just not
I
the
thought
most
Dark Mage was
interactive.
much more offensive. Like Ebony's like, I got an array shield. I'm standing here. Come on, shoot at me. I'm gonna wait for you to do it, and you're gonna lose it.
But Dark Mage was hard to go on the offense because he would play whack job 3 school arsenal and it was super reliant on Opti to come out and make any of his skills playable.
It was stuff like Photon Burst, Reincarnation, Flame Sword, Killer Satellite.
Maybe I got
Yeah.
rose-colored glasses on Dark Mage.
But allegedly, 3 schools out because he lead out. So
Dark Mage ahead of the meta. 10 years ago. Enough about Dark Mage. He's irrelevant these days. Group C then.
Prove them wrong. Come on, come out of the woodwork, Dark Mage.
That's right. I'm calling you out, Dark Mage. You irrelevant
Dark
old
Mage
bastard.
CFA, where are you?
So Group C then, the group of Clipocalypse.
Oh God, dude, this is the group where we get to see the cousins play. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Xanxus and Zexus play like with anybody else. So this is going to be kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, this is the
Yeah, man, who made this?
match.
Who made this? This group's some bullshit.
Well, this group is just altogether pretty stacked. Like, there's a couple of people in here that, got to be looking up above them and just, a little worried. Like, they have a long road ahead of them if they want to make it out of this group. We have Xanxus, we have Zexus, we have Darcia, Clipocalypse, Mirage, Malik, another notable 1v1 player, Sandal, another of our panelists here, and another notable 1v1 that we keep alluding to, player Shadow Shield in this group.
Was the returning
it's gonna
champion?
be a fun group.
No, Shadow Shield's not the returning champion.
Didn't he win outright?
No.
Wait a minute. He
lost
punched
the quarter, right?
Gagnon 12 times in the head. How did he not win that thing?
He beat him in the group
You
stage.
tell me that that's
He won
not
the
the winning
group.
of the tournament?
That was in the group stage that he did that to him.
No, Guardian prepared next time, like badly.
Well, Guinan didn't play him again. I did.
Oh, that's right. Well, I know somebody was like, "Oh, cool." Now we just start bringing a bunch of Garda Waters, and it's like, "Well, see you later. Thanks for playing."
Yeah, that was
Guinan kind
Dragon's fault.
of started that trend, and then I was the one that executed it on Shadow Shield. Like, there was a point where, like, I knew he had this combo that he really likes is Shield Breaker into Psycho Burst. It's a 10 cost. Like, if you see him coming at you and he has, Psycho, and he has 10 aura, a purple, and a red, it's almost always going to be this Shield Breaker Psycho Burst. And he was coming at me with exactly that. And so I had a Guard of Water in hand, and I just stood still and used a Tiger Strength to see if he would do it, and he did.
That's pretty funny.
Like, that's on video footage. That was on City. So yeah, and that was the quarterfinals.
Yeah. Now, Clipocalypse is a return. I think he's an old player from before. We haven't seen a
Yeah.
lot of him. And same with Malik. Both of them just really didn't like. They were around in the days past, but they're only like really starting to dip their toes back into tournament play, I guess.
Wait, have I been saying his
I was gonna
name
say, I
wrong for a
certainly remember
decade?
playing the league.
I
We
thought it
played
was
him a lot.
Malik. I don't know.
I was gonna
We
say, I
played
thought it
a
was
lot.
Malik.
Might
Dude,
be.
I've heard the guy talk like one time. I don't know.
I guess that's the influence of Knights of the Old Republic on our brains, I guess.
All right, well, I guess enough on name pronunciation. You were saying there, Nathan?
I was just saying, I remember him very clearly from the old days. I feel like he was one of the
Yeah.
many people Wolf had played. So I mean, he was certainly around a lot. He was
Oh,
not
yeah.
like
I only
I
ran
don't know
into
if
him.
I've seen him.
He used to
Is
play a
the
lot of
question.
tag.
No,
Like I
he
said, he's
plays
a 1v1
one-on-one.
player.
That's his preference.
He's
Yeah.
he's a refined older gentleman, much like Nathan.
No, he's a filthy pig. I know that much. I remember our discussions. He's a piglet.
He orders from the silver menu when he goes to Denny's.
I remember him on the forums where he's like, I can jump reincarnation. Everyone else is like, bullshit. And then he showed us how to do it with Freya.
Yeah, that's what I remember him. That's the biggest thing I remember him
Yeah,
for.
I do remember he was the first person who did that. Man, I guess the big storyline we've already talked about. It's going to be great to watch Xanxus and Zexus fight right off the bat.
I want them to be in the same room when they do that too, so we can hear them talk shit to each other.
How metal would it be if one of them advanced and the other one didn't, based on their win-loss against each other?
I mean, I think
Then
it's
you-
perfectly possible because this is those groups that I think we do have them. So you've got Xanxus and Zexus, which seem very solid. Mirage, when he's on, I mean, him and Madman didn't have the best showing in the tag team, but not for, these crazy close games and series. Like, Mirage is very solid. Malik is clearly a question mark. Sandal is probably going to invent a whole new meta that breaks the game that he's going to love. And Shadow
He's going away.
We made
Shadow
jokes about
Shield
that.
Shadow Shield has shown that he has no qualms about taking high-level cartwheeler players down with Psycho Burst and Dance of Death.
I mean, his timing and his counters. Yes, we know what skills he bring, but he brings a couple of them. He doesn't. That's not the only thing in his arsenal. And with those skills, he has insane timing on his counters for it. So, I mean, there's a lot going on in this group.
The worst part is if I beat Xanxus or Zexus, I still gotta beat the other one.
You still got to beat the other one. I mean, to advance from the group, to advance as Sandal or say Malik or Clypocalypse, like to advance from this group, you need to beat at least one of Xanxus, Zexus, or Shadow Shield.
Yeah. I'll say about Hypocalypse, I remember he posted something on Phantom Dusted. I was trying to look up like erase arsenals a while back, and he had one, and his post was called like a hidden confession and an awesome arsenal, and he was confessing that he loves erase. So I wonder if he's gonna come out with a lot of like level erase kind of stuff, or
Well,
just
there's no
in general.
kid gloves in this tournament, so I would love to see him erase one of Xanxus or Zexus into oblivion.
They pack a lot of orb though, I know that. And Zexus packs a lot of low cost skills. Like you better be ready to dodge debris bullets and lasers, like lane lasers.
One prediction I have here is I think we're going to see a completely different play style out of Zexus, because Zexus plays a style that supports Xanxus. He plays all that low cost stuff so that people are constantly on their toes, so Xanxus can move in and reincarnation backdraft bullet with Tiger Strength on, stuff like that. Like that's the role Zexus plays in their tag partnership. Is I'm going to throw Bullet of Fire and Rock Shot, and I'm going to bring like fucking 8 of them, so that way that even if you erase one, I've got more, while Xanxus brings in the damage. But he's not playing tag anymore, and he's a dangerous player in his own right, and I think we're going to see a completely different style out of Xanxus.
I bet he plays exactly the same. I bet you still have to dodge 19 lasers.
Well, I'm not saying he's not going to be attacking you constantly. I'm saying that we're going to see him playing for himself rather than to set someone else up.
Well, I think that's just part of his style, period. As I think he likes to have those nickel and dime type moves in there to offset the higher cost stuff. I think that's the one lesson he's kind of learned over time, is to have less of the higher end stuff so we can pack it more in. That's a lesson that Mirage needs to learn, though. No more 11 aura vibration arsenals.
Call outs.
But if it does come out,
Remember Batman bitching about that whole round? He's like, why the hell are you running 11 aura?
Get there eventually.
Okay, let's get down to predictions then. Anybody feeling bold on these, or are we going with?
I'm going to say Zexus, Xanxus, and Shadow Shield. I mean, am I wrong? Like,
I'm gonna say Zach. Actually,
Sorry, choices. Can you repeat that?
Zex, Zanks, and Sandal.
Okay. What about you, Go?
Jesus Jones. Like, I feel bad for Garcia in this because we literally made no mention of him, but I mean, like, I don't know how Clipocalypse plays or even how Malik or Malik, however you want to fucking say it, play these days. I feel really dumb betting against Xanxus and Shadow Shield, to be perfectly honest. So nothing personal, Sandal, but you got your work cut out for you.
Oh yeah, and I don't know how much I feel like working on the one-on-one game. Some of the meta is not as interesting to me.
How about this? Look at it this way: treat it like Fantasy Strike. You'll get that.
But yeah, definitely Xanxus Sexus. And yeah, I could see Shadow Shield definitely getting third on me. I don't know.
I believe
it'll
in you,
be.
but...
Well, I was
There
gonna
is
say,
a chance. There is a chance.
I think the
believe in
smart
you.
play. I think the smart play is Xanxus and Zexus, and then it will be a race for third. I think it's mainly between Sandal and Shadow Shield, but there's some others that could make the upset. Mirage, Malik, Clipocalypse. Darcy is a solid player in his own right. But yeah, I think it's going to be probably. I think Zexus is good, but I think Xanxus is the better 1v1 player. I think Xanxus is going to top this group. Zex is second, and then it'll be, I think most likely, a decision between Sandal and Shadow Shield on who gets out third seed. But you never know. Shadow Shield could just show up and Psycho Burst Xanxus and Zexus back to the Stone Age, just like he did to Guinan in group stages.
Can we just call him Shadow Burst or Shadow Dance from now on instead?
Psycho Dance.
Psycho Shield.
Dude, Psycho Death. How about that?
Well, tell me if this is a good sign.
14
I've been
damage.
looking at arsenals to whittle down, and I decided to make 8 arsenals that I thought were the worst and try and eliminate those. Bad strategy? Or will it get me to finally a good arsenal?
I mean, I guess we should talk about Sandal too. Like, he really is like that, X Factor player in this group. Like, he could just throw everybody for a loop. Xanxus might beat everybody else, but then lose to Sandal. You never know how that's going to shake out because he has such wacky jank. Like, how are you going to prepare for that? Honestly, you don't know what he's going to do.
In the last one, there was only the winner of Sandal's group only lost to Sandal. So,
Choice is trying to tout his own horn from the quarterfinals.
I was being anonymous, but I guess
Okay.
if you say that was me, I mean, that doesn't sound like
Sandal's going to break out the Chill Breeze arsenal, and he's finally going to get it to work, and he's going to...
I don't need a partner. You're right.
Sandal has been trying to make Chill
Needed anyone
Breeze
to do
work
this.
for like 12 years now. He's always been trying to make Chill Breeze work.
It's the longest winter in Sandal's house.
The Chill Breeze Arsenal success rate is not great.
It did beat you and Zexus.
Oh.
That's true. I mean, it was. Yeah, I saw that tech. All right, does anybody have any more that we want to talk about? Group C?
No, I think I feel good with that.
All right, well, let's move on to Group D. I feel like Group D has some, again, just like last time, has some really good parity in here.
Plus two more unknowns. Well, I don't know. I don't know two of those names. Meshnig one, Mech.
I think it's
one.
Mech Nigel
Nigel?
or Nige because I think his first name's Nigel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has
Then we got
has
Phantom
anybody? That's the only one I don't know. Has anybody played Nigel?
Nah.
Okay, because I did go out of my way to play with Phantom Crux. He was actually the one that popped in here earlier asking if we were playing. Was Phantom Crux? Not sure how he ended up in here, but he did.
Pretty easy to get here.
He is one of these other players that has come back. He's a little bit more recent in his comeback than some others. And I've talked about this before, a little tongue in cheek with a few people, but Phantom Dust is this game where in the re-release, you saw a lot of people pop back up and say they were the best Phantom Dust player of all time. And in the re-release, you saw a lot of those players. Some proved to be, some proved to be a little bit further down the list. But there, there's like 20, 30, 40, 50 players that showed up. Like, yeah, I was the best Phantom Dust player. I never lost to anybody when they came back in the re-release. Phantom Crux.
It's like, what's your rank? 1200.
Yeah, Phantom Crux is another one of those players with that kind of attitude who has recently come back. I played against him for about 6, 7, 8 matches, something like that. It might have been as many as 10. And he's got some room to improve still, I would say. Maybe shake off some of the rust. But he is a fairly good mechanical player. I'll be interested to see how he does in this group because I feel like there's only one really big standout name that kind of comes out above the rest. And I feel like everything below that is just, anybody's game for me.
And it's perfect that he's at the top of the list, too. Mr. Ice Sword himself.
Yeah. If Ebony Scarface is 3 recalls in every arsenal, that is 3 ice swords in every arsenal for Esper 51, along with that every time he hits you with it.
I think we have the great former grudge match between Esper and as well.
Yeah, that was the
getting their grudge matches on.
Yeah, former tag partners, and they played in the quarterfinals against each other in the last 1v1. Went 3-1 in Esper's favor. I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch them play again. But we've got a lot of talent in this group.
It's a lot of parity.
It's just like last time. Again, I'd say Group C was kind of the most stacked last time, and then Group D was the most parity, and we have that again in Group D. A lot of parity. Filthy made quarterfinals in the last tournament, had a really good showing in the last 1v1 tournament. He's always on. He puts in the hours. He's a very good brawler, has good game sense, just an all-around very solid player. Kanye, Doom's most recent partner in the past tag tournament, he ended up finishing 4th in the tag tournament. That was his tournament debut. Well-known. Total scumbag.
Scumbag. You're a scumbag, Kanye.
Yeah, he's known for playing very frequently with Xanxus and Zexus as well. He likes to kind of adopt their play style. He plays a lot like they do.
If
I think you
rumors
got
are
it
to be
backwards.
believed, he trained.
That's true.
This
He
is what I
trained
recall.
Xanxus, from what I understand.
I think he needs to rewatch some of his own training tapes then, because whoo-wee.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. Yeah, I mean, go back and watch the 3rd and 4th place match, Kanye, for the tag tournament. Went real well. But he is a very good player. He didn't have the best showing that day, but he's a very good player, very solid cartwheeler. He plays the same kind of style Xanxus and Zexus do, and he's not bad at that style. He's very good at that style, and it'll be interesting to see how he transitions into the 1v1. I'd say he plays more like Zexus, kind of a supportive style when he played with Doom. Could be very dangerous in this group. Invoker of Legend is... if I remember correctly, he's new to the game from the re-release. He didn't play in the old days, correct?
Yeah.
And so
I don't know.
I know he took a little bit of a hiatus, but he came back. But he was a player that I saw at least was getting steadily much better. Saw large margins of improvement from when I first played him.
Invoker's definitely very solid. there are times where he makes the mechanical mistake here or there, but all in all, capitalizes on other people's mistakes very well. He's very solid. He has good arsenal building to the point where his arsenals come out the way he wants them to come out, and he's able to capitalize on when he does.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go down the list. Who else do we got here? We got Evolution. Here, can somebody take it away for a minute?
Evolution, of course, paired with Sandal, the most recent tag tournament. Evolution, we've given kind of the label as, almost kind of like Sandal-esque with his arsenal builds and crazy builds. But from the 1v1, what he likes to be known for is the rush and the mechanical style. And his success in the last 1v1, I think I would attribute a lot to his Blazing Rush, to his kind of Esper-esque Ice Sword nature deck. So I don't know which evolution we're going to see. If we're going to see the tricky, weird, crazy hang, we're going to see here is, swords in your face in the first 30 seconds. Can you deal with this aggression? The fact that he does have that range, I think, makes him pretty dangerous, because you're prepping completely different for both those play styles. So if you don't know what to expect, you're in for a bad time.
Yeah, I think you're going to get both unless one works really good. And then he's just going to make you adapt to it or then lose again.
I know he said,
So-
he's been saying for a long time, though, that he wants to move away from the mad scientist stuff, that he actually kind of hates that label. But at the same time, then he'll be like, well, yeah, man, we should play Disintegrate. And you're like, wait, I didn't think you wanted to do that. No, man, it'll really work out, I swear. That's true.
He's trying to
yeah,
reform.
sometimes he says he's done with Jank and then he comes back to it. So.
Well, I remember
released
I remember
from his
he
mental
was
ways, and then he comes back.
It's like an abusive relationship that you just can't walk away from. Like, man, you hit me 3 nights ago, but I love you. Disintegrate.
Yeah, I'm never going back. I'm out of the game for good.
Well, I remember he relied so heavily on that blazing style in the last tournament, and then he gets to quarterfinals, and I remember him prepping for this, and he's like, "Yo, man, how funny would it be if I managed to kill Esper with Judge of Ares into Judge of Anubis?" And he did it 2 out of 4 games. It failed fantastically both times.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great like seriously, that's super good. Just because obviously you go and you get a free stun into death, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he breaks out. We'll see if he decides he's like, man, I'm done with Jank. He's like, whatever, man, I love Jank.
What's that photo? The one of the car. It has like the signs on there on the highway, and it's like playing a standard Arsenal, going back to the Jank, and it's like doing the power steer through the turn on the. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna make this meme. I'll do it. Somebody else talk about Group D. I'm gonna make it. Let's see.
How about the wolf, Nathan? Oh wait, did we? Yeah, how about the wolf?
I mean, look, he's a solid one-on-one player. The knock on the wolf in play, I would say, is that, he kind of lacks map awareness. Like he doesn't have a sense of where. Like if I die and I don't tell him exactly where I am, he has no clue where I was.
Looks like he won't have that problem.
Will not have that problem 1v1. I think people underestimate him. I really think that there's a chance he could do some serious damage in this tournament. I do think he could come out here, 1 or 2 possibly in this bracket.
So who's everybody taken as their top 3?
I would say Esper, Wolf, and I'm really not sure. I guess Evolution.
Yeah, it's pretty open.
I really don't know. Like I don't have a good finger on how Kanye is. I'll tell you, there were some sequences in this past tag tournament where he was really impressive. Where I actually thought he carried Doom a little bit in a couple games.
This is probably the hardest group of all of them to pin down because it's probably the closest parity out of all groups. I'm going to say Kanye finishes 08 because the hell with him. I'm gonna say Esper
The hate.
Joker Evolution is probably who I'm gonna go, is who I'd say. I think Wolf has a chance to probably break into that top three though. If I had to pick like an outlier person, only because I don't know what Nigel or Phantom Crux plays like. I mean, I know Phantom Crux is like the best Phantom Dust player ever, according to him, and I'm gonna trust.
Does
him.
anyone remember his old name?
I've never seen Phantom Crux until this moment.
Oh, I just
he's
thought
the
maybe he
best
had an
player?
old name that we knew.
No, he played under the same name.
Oh.
So he's the best player you've never heard of. That makes it even better.
Sneaky good. No, I mean, I have no idea. I'm curious to see, how that one shakes out. I'm sure I'll be doing some testing with the Wolf at some point over the next next week or two.
I think
It's
Esper
a beast in 1v1.
are the ones we're leaning towards, but between the Wolf, Filthy, and Kanye, I think who are the next tier of that. For me, I think it's anybody's game. I honestly don't know the way that'll shake out, because it's not just who's the best; it's how they're going to match up against the rest of the field. So, because of that, I give a slight edge to Kanye, because I think Filthy runs we all know what Filthy runs, and then Wolf, he's a bit of a wild card. I have not seen him as much as Kanye, who's been on and is clearly very adaptable.
I'm gonna go with Esper Evolution, and I'm gonna go with Filthy. He's a fighter, he's a survivor, and did he only lose to Guinan in his last one? I don't remember. Anyway, I think he's gonna put up a good fight. Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
For me, in this group, I'm going to make some bold ones. I'm going to say it's Esper, Filthy, and I'm going to go with the wild card if he puts in the time and practices, and I'm going to give Phantom Crux the outside shot to take third seed here.
Because he's the best.
The best master.
Oh, God,
no, let's never talk about that ever again.
He was the number one Phantom Dust
either
player.
the best master or thinks. Oh my lord! Then you
No.
guys would all be.
For people who don't remember, the best master was the guy who got himself to number one on the leaderboard, with BS wins in the original Phantom Dust.
Dude, that charged particle arsenal he had on there was the best arsenal anyone's ever played in the game, ever. He was the best, and the master. He also played a ton of Steel Battalion. Like, if you can go check his YouTube channel, he has like a whole bunch of Steel Battalion matches on there.
He's got his Phantom Dust rank up there too.
Yeah, he was the best at both games, man. He actually played Phantom Dust on the Steel Battalion setup, which is why he was so good.
That actually sounds awesome.
Whatever button he pressed on that controller gave him the skill he needed at the moment.
Let's put it this way: he had dash when he didn't have dash, if you know what I mean, because there's like a gas pedal for that setup.
For you people not familiar with Steel Battalion, that was a game that came with like a ridiculous controller that was like 20 buttons, I think, something like that. Like, you would have an eject button on your controller, and
it was a panel. It was like a whole. It was supposed to represent the inside of like a battle mech. And it had like levers, it had gas pedals, it had like a little wheel thing. It's a pretty intense setup. Go check out the Best Masters channel. One, so you can learn how to be the best Phantom Dust player. And two,
you're triggering me so hard right now.
You guys go off topic.
We're talking about the best master. Come on.
Which I hope is Phantom. I really hope that's the case.
Let's get back to the crux of.
Okay. Let's see now. I can save this. I've been shit posting while we're doing this.
The important things.
Like, Goatrix and Sandal not allowed to cast again.
All right, if you're watching on the channel, you'll see it yourselves. You can pull it up on the channel. I'll share it in the Discord so you all can see it now too. Here it is.
Here we go.
A big chink that probably won't work.
Evolution in a nutshell, right there, every single time.
I really wanted to play Ebony because I was hoping he'd leave me alone enough that I would do mobilize into Judge of Anubis, the anti-gravity trap. I don't think anyone else will let me do that.
Oh man.
Man, your Evo link isn't showing up for me. This is very sad.
It's in the Discord.
I'm looking at the Discord.
I'll send it to you on Facebook then. Jeez.
I'm very sad.
I think that about wraps up the.
Yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna say we
yeah.
could do one last thing. I was gonna say for everybody, who is your top 4 preemptively? And we'll see how
Are we
everybody
talking
does
about
at the end.
One per. Are you talking just in general overall, or just one?
Yeah, the
per...
top 4 of the entire tournament. Who's your top 4? It doesn't have to be in order either.
Math, Reagan, Xanxus, and probably Zexus.
Xanxus, Sexus, Bragan, and I'll go with Esper.
That's pretty much.
Xanxus, Esper, and Shadow Shield.
S3.
That's 4. You just can't
Those
count.
4, yeah, I did both Xanxus and Xanxus. I'm
Oh,
honestly
I
not
didn't
sure.
hear.
I mean, obviously you beat Shadow Shield, so I do think probably. I do think though that C group is really stacked.
I think I'm gonna go Xanxus, Bragan, Math, and Esper.
Well, my decision is not as hard because I can't pick myself. So I'll say.
Pick yourself for second and third.
Well, I can't pick myself for any of the top 4, so I'll say Xanxus, excluding myself, so I get to cop out on this one. Xanxus, Zexus, Shadow Shield, and Esper on that one.
Can I put my 2 cents?
Who's that?
Sure.
Oh, Kanye joined.
Kanye, you're terrible.
Sure, Kanye. Who's your top 4? And you're not allowed to pick yourself, especially because you're not getting there.
I put myself at top 20, but
That's 13 people you're saying you're better than. I think that's a little too bold.
You can barely say he's better than himself.
yeah, I picked Xanxus, Zexus, you, Brigand, and who else? Who else was on there?
Esper, Shadow Shield, Math.
Yeah, Esper too.
SomePoorChoices.
Yeah, when I saw my list, my first word was Esper.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be really interested to see. Esper always kind of had like a mental block when he plays Guinan, and Guinan's not going to be in this tournament, so we could see Esper, I think, easily in the finals of this tournament.
I just need to get him off of Palace. That's it.
People think that Esper's only good on Palace, and that's probably almost 100% true when you're playing tag. But in a 1v1, he is pretty dangerous on any map. Like, in a 1v1, it doesn't matter. Ice Sword works anywhere. In tag, yeah, Ice Sword not that great on Highway, but doesn't matter what map it is. Ice Sword is good.
I mean, we're talking a lot a Ghost who doesn't even play anymore.
Keeping the meme. So he cut out a little bit. He said, talking a lot about a Ghost that doesn't even play anymore. The good old on-running joke. So I guess that basically wraps us up. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about, or any last words they'd like to add in?
I just
Sorry,
wanted to add the that whole mobilize thing with Ebony. I don't mean anything, bad by that. I think you might give me the time, or you might violent change me. I'd be like, I'm about to pull it off, and then you snatch it away from me, the last thing to pull it off. So yeah,
I think Ebony's gonna get Briggs a run for his money.
oh, he
I
probably
think it's
could.
very possible. Yeah, I think
But
he will have a very dangerous play style in a 1v1 setting. So I will be interested to see that. Personally.
That's why I'm interested. That fight right there, you and Ebony, because Ebony's got really, really good.
Just get Bragan tilted before the match, and it'll work like gold.
All right, well, I guess that wraps us up then. I'd like to thank all of the moderators. We had 100% attendance from the Phantom Dust moderators. We never have that happen. We managed to find a day and time where we were able to get us all on because we're at different coasts and different work schedules. We managed to get a day and a time where we got all 5 of us on at once. I'm honestly impressed that we managed that. And thanks for everybody who's watching, either live or watching the recording of this. And good luck to everybody in the tournament. I hope everybody has fun and is able to enjoy themselves in here, win or lose. You're guaranteed to get quite a few matches. And I don't think there's anybody that's going to come in here and just has nobody in their group that they're completely outmatched by every single member of their group. I think there's enough parity that everybody should have a chance to pick up some wins and have some fun in this tournament.
And if we didn't mention, we mentioned, prove us wrong. And if you do start losing, and you just know that those tournament matches are a lot more intense and go a long way towards sort of honing what's going on. So even if you're not a fan of how it's been going, just seize that opportunity and have fun with it, guys.
Yeah, it's the nature of predictions. There's going to be winners and losers in the game, and there's winners and losers in the predictions for us. And we respect everybody that joins this tournament. I respect anybody who's willing to jump into this tournament and play. And I hope that you show your best performance. Even if you don't win your matches, I'd love to see your best performance. Win some games and show some good moves. Give us some highlight reels. We're going to be trying to make more of these highlight videos, and so the better your plays are, the more you get me or somebody else in there to record your matches. We'll get in there, we'll get the hype going, and we'll get you on those highlight reels. And we hope to see lots of participation and lots of fun for everyone. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.